Hey guys, Dylan Tommy here. Welcome back to the Green Room. It's been several weeks since I updated any of these systems, and they've all done significant growing. I've recently did a lot of trimming in each tank, so I'd like to just cruise the Green Room and we'll check out a lot of these systems. I'll quickly update the crebensis. Hopefully I can catch some of the younger generation growing in this tank. We'll quickly look at the tank. Big trimming in here. This tank was really densely packed, full of the wisteria and a lot of these rotala stems. So I really did take a lot of plantage out of there and opened up a lot of room for some other plants to grow. You see I got a couple of swords kind of tucked in here, and they weren't getting a lot of light because of the thick foliage. It really wasn't penetrating the way I wanted it to. So I cleared it out and did a lot of trimming, and as you can see, the crebensis are really shy and really skittish because I removed so much of that canopy that shaded them. You know, they're all really doing a lot of hiding. And it's interesting because right nowadays I see a lot of the younger generation, the juveniles don't seem to show any signs of being timid or afraid of the bright light. You see this crebensis here? That's one of the newest young batches, and it's not an albino. These two right here are actually normal crebensis fry, which is cool. It's cool to see them out. But there are a couple of albinos in here that are around the same age as these two guys. But a lot of the adults have become very timid without the shading canopy. So it's tough to kind of capture them on video right now. But they're very big, as you can see. They don't do a very good job of hiding because of their size nowadays. But they are a little timid because I opened up so much light to some of these plants that are growing down here on the bottom of the tank. But the system looks good. It's thriving. It's very healthy. But we will keep cruising here. The guppy tank has had some serious trimming in the last week or so. These baby tears that you see growing out down here, probably about 2.5 inches higher than they are, and I've just chopped them down. And I love this part of the tank. This part of the habitat is ideal for the younger generation. I've told you guys that in the past. I often see young guppy fry amongst the thick vegetation here. But a lot of the younger fry that I've seen in the past couple of days have been venturing, you know, out into the water column, like this guy here. So they're growing up enough to leave the thick foliage. But it's such a cool habitat, and it's such a great place to, you know, grow out younger generations. I've always liked to keep a tank with thick foliage as a place to rear young fry. And the guppy tank's been doing great. I've actually changed a bit of the stock around because I removed a couple of breeding females, and I also removed the largest male, the sire, the father of all these young fry, one of the first guppies I've ever owned, into the tank below. So there's only selected fish, selected females left in here. I got my fancy right here. This is hopefully one of my breeders, because he has much different genes and a much different look than any of the other fish in the tank. So I got him in here alone with a lot of females and only one other male, who's this red guy right here. So they're producing a lot of young fry with some cool color variations. And I'll continue to move guppies around. Let me show you where I put the large adult male. The father is now down here in this tank. And I've also noticed this young fry, who I initially thought was a female, but with that color pattern now, I'm starting to believe it's a male. That's just an offspring of the fish that I just showed you. And it's got some different patterning. But this old guy here, he was the sire. He was the one. He bred with the first female I had, and you know, they created multiple spawns. And a lot of these guppies that you see in the tank are their offspring. And I actually put him in here to kind of retire and chill out. But he does have a couple females in here, and I think he's still breeding. I think he's still doing his thing. Haven't seen any younger generations being produced in this tank, but I did put a lot of younger fry in this tank, so you can see that there are a younger generation in here. They weren't born in this tank, but I put them in here to grow out. And this tank, even though it's looking clean, hasn't been growing very well. I think I may add another light to this tank. Not the best spectrum. I've been trying different things with some more blues, but I think I will be switching up the lighting in this tank, especially now that I have some fish in this tank. For a while this was mainly a grow out tank, and a lot of the clippings I had from other tanks I was putting in here. But we got another guppy colony, and it was initially just supposed to be, you know, a retirement home for this guy, you know. And there's a quick look at that. Let's see if we can catch an albino, because these guys looking so gorgeous lately. Like I said, they're just very timid. They won't come out. Yes, you are beautiful. That young fish was raised in this tank. My first generation of albino crebensis that spawned in this tank, and they're looking very nice. I think he's about 11 months old, probably about a year by now. I have to check the videos. But the albino offspring have grown up fantastic in there. We'll duck down to this 20 long. There's nothing yet in there, although I'm considering adding some guppy fry to this tank to allow them to grow out, simply because this tank is doing very well. And there's nothing in it other than some red cherry shrimp. And for a while, I was very excited that the cherry shrimp were reproducing and repopulating in this tank. So we can cruise the substrate real quick and we'll check out the population of cherry shrimp, because they are really doing well in this tank and thriving. Alright, last but certainly not least, the large 55, which I really did a big trimming in the last several weeks. Took out a lot of the baby tears and tried to open up this area right here in a desperate attempt to try and save some of the Wenti. They've really been encroached by the baby tears, and the baby tears really just took them over. So I actually set up a lot of this rock work to deter the baby tears from growing towards the crypts. But I guess this guy settled into the rock work. It also created a little more habitat for him too, because all these baby tears wasn't, you know, the ideal platform for him to rest and chill out on. Always been hopeful that the rams will breed, and the trimming that I've done in this tank recently has been geared towards helping them establish a sort of habitat. They have this hole down here, which I noticed they do spend a lot of time. There's a rock straight at the bottom, and it's just open to them. And I noticed that this guy's been going down there and trying to lure her into his little den. But they've never had any successful breeding activity. And we'll see. I just don't know. She's looking really good today. So is he. Just haven't changed any fish in this tank, and have really been dedicating my efforts to allowing the baby tears to grow out in hopes that it will create a lush environment and these two rams will eventually breed. The rest of the fish in this tank have, you know, been in this tank for over 3 years, and they're really not fish I, you know, care too much for anymore, you know, even though those serpes are looking super red. They're the oldest fish in the tank, is the serpes. But these other fish are pretty much in here to create a habitat for the rams. So like I said, still hopeful that the rams will do something in this tank, and we can have a little breeding project with them, because look how cool they are. Everybody loves rams. And they get a great habitat to do it in. So like I said, very hopeful that someday, with all this thick vegetation and deep foliage, that they'll get something done. We'll quickly show you this. This is kind of a bit of an experiment tank. I loaded it up with some Java moss. It's looking pretty cool. There's really nothing in here other than snails, and I was considering adding some cherry shrimp or another type of morph of Neocardinia, just to put in this little cool scape. It's really just growing out moss for now. As an epiphyte, I'm allowing it to attach to some of this slate and some of the driftwood that you see in here. But it just looks like a scattered scape, kind of a earth aftermath, if you will. But nothing living in there just yet, except for the snails. And quickly we can check out the Viv, which is doing awesome. Still haven't added any life to this yet, and I'm really getting ready and considering this for a dart frog habitat. It's a cool little scape, all the moss, and even some of the wild stuff that I had pulled out of the backyard is doing very well. I've been keeping the water feature very low, and it just helps with drainage and allows things not to stay so moist. But the moss wall is looking great, and this little bromeliad actually was a pup off another plant that I had, and I decided just to stick it in there and see how well it would do. And it's thriving. The whole system is thriving. During the summer I had actually taken the door off and allowed for more ventilation, but because now that I'm considering adding life to it, particularly a dart frog, I'm trying to get the system back to good with the door on it and the limited ventilation. Oh, quickly I can let you guys know about the website. I kind of gave you a preview in the last video that I would be selling a lot of my aquatic plants and some of the offspring, particularly the Burchardi colony and maybe some of those albinos. So I can give you a quick little sneak peek at the webpage. It's almost ready. It's not quite there yet, but we're getting there. Let's see. And the shop page. So stay tuned for that, guys. Natural Aquatics will be sharing very shortly. Alright guys, thanks for hanging out with me in the green room. As always, I appreciate it. And stay tuned for a new paludarium update and the Natural Aquatics webpage. You guys have a good one. Tank on. Peace.